But the thing is this, if we say that they're negotiating, it will mean that we're giving them something in return for something.
Yes.
What do you think that Boko Haram could be asking for?
Well, they will be asking for a kind of prisoner exchange. It's a universal thing among the terrorists. You have our men, if you want us to give you. So I learned that they're now asking for their bomb maker in exchange for that. We're not saying yes at the moment, and nobody is saying no. Can they have the bomb maker? Yes, if we sit down at the table, they can have the bomb maker. But how they are going to have the bomb maker, the details of how they are going to have it for security reasons is not something that I would like to discuss here for my own safety and for the confidentiality of the federal government. But they can have it. But one thing we need to do is that we must not go there unorganized. We must not go to that table to discuss with them not prepared and not ready. If they know how to do it, I wish them luck, they can go ahead. If they don't know how to do it, they should come back, look inward, and talk to people who can help them to say, okay, this is how you need to get yourself organized talking to these people. It's an agreement. There is going to be a give and take when it comes to negotiation.
Because does it worry you, sorry Marco, does it worry you when we talk about discussions, who are we talking to, knowing full well that when we talk about terror groups, they have cells, and when we have Boko Haram, this is not the first time we've heard of any form of talks with the group, to the extent that we have another splinter or another group saying, well, hold on, that's not us talking with you. So okay, how do we know who we're talking to? Okay, unless Nigerian authority and Cameroonian authority and Niger Republic authority and Benin Republic authority have been messing around all these years, then it will mean that the level of intelligence gathering in all the West African country is rubbish. If by now the DSS, the National Intelligence Agency, the National Orientation Agency, the Nigerian Police Force, that's as far as Nigeria is concerned, the rest of the West African countries that are involved with this cannot come out and tell us now that, okay, this is the intelligence we have on ground. This group, they are here. This group have a conflict. They're having a conflict within them, and they've split into two. One is willing to negotiate, one is not willing to negotiate. These are some of the intelligence that we're supposed to be having. I just read in the news that one of their IT experts has been arrested. What have we done with him? Have we collected his laptop? Have we gathered any intelligence from his phone? Have we... isn't
that absolutely, isn't that to be taken for granted? I mean, that if we've arrested the IT expert, the fact that they were even able to get him, doesn't it show that some intelligence work went underground to be able to get him?
There are two types of getting a dividends from intelligence. One is an arrest. And in an ideal world, when you make an arrest, does not necessarily mean you are successful. The person you arrested, with the help of a good lawyer, can be back on the street in a jiffy, depending on the robust work you put in before you go into that. Another thing is analysis of the intelligence you are gathering during before, during, and after the arrest. We are always too quick to come and parade people on the TV, whereas a lot of work supposed to have been done. I don't even expect the news that their ICT person should be in the news for about 48 to 72 hours. When the people that are supposed, this guy is supposed to be quizzed by the police, who are trained, who has knowledge on how to quiz people. These people are supposed to be vetted and looked well by the DSS. The NSA is supposed to spring into action to say, okay, this guy, is he a big fish? I'm sure you must have had that during the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan, when they say an arrest has been made. They don't actually say who they have arrested. You hear the press asking them, is this a big fish or a small fish? And they will say, well, it's a big fish or it's a small fish, or we have no comment for now. It's still part of intelligence management. So now, I'm not seeing any trait of that in this arrest. All I'm just seeing a group of enforcement agency or military group going, making 2% success where you are supposed to be making about 60%, and be quick to come to the press to tell us this is what we have done. Nobody is waiting to appraise you.
You don't think that that's part of their own intelligence management, in the sense that they most likely would have done it, but they would not come to the press to say, well, we took his laptops and took his phones and went through them, and this was what we found.
Arrest has been made in the past. From my perspective and from my position as somebody who is knowledgeable in this field, if you make an arrest, I don't wait to get a result from you immediately. I watch over the next 60 days that, okay, this guy that is said to have been arrested, let me see how that is going to help in the next level of operation that is going to happen. Now, I'll give you one very simple one. We've always been hearing that Boko Haram has 27 ELOCs, 30 ELOCs, the recovered weapon. Vehicles have serial and chassis number, which can be tracked down to the manufacturer. The manufacturer has a record of who they sold the car to in the first place. The same thing applies to weapon. Every weapon, every gun has a serial number. The serial number can be tracked down to the person that it was sold to initially. So this is supposed to help us in even fighting international terrorism. If somebody bought a gun to be used in Ethiopia, where there is war, and Boko Haram at the beginning of their onslaught in 2010 said, our brethren has just returned from Ethiopia where they have gone to receive real warfare. Did they come into the country with weapons? Which route did the weapon take? Are we facing the aftermath? Is it the same weapon that was used in Ethiopia that is now being used in Nigeria? Do we need to beef up all the roads? West African road, East African road, to say, okay, weapon is being moved through our road, weapon is being moved through our desert. We need to do more of aerial reconnaissance and other stuff. So all these are supposed to tie in.
Let's close on this. Very quickly, how optimistic are you? How soon do you think this can be wrapped up?
If the federal government gets it right going into it, I don't think it should take more than 60 days if they're getting it right going into it. The negotiation, don't forget that the negotiation can break down in the middle. Don't forget that offensive is still ongoing while the negotiation is going on. Maybe the terrorist group or the United Nations will come in to say, okay, we want to call for ceasefire on the part of Nigerian army and on the part of Boko Haram. A lot of hidden stuff are still likely to unfold, either to prolong or quicken the process of the negotiation.
Dr. Bosan Balewa, we thank you for coming on the program.
Thanks very much for your time. Thanks for having me.